everybody, and welcome to the second installment of Way Too Indie's Secret Stash, a series in which we talk to filmmakers, actors, and movie critics, and other folks in the industry about films they love and consider essential cinema, but haven't gotten the recognition or exposure they deserve because they're too obscure, too weird, or too indie, of course. Joining me today, our guest is J.P. Chan, a filmmaker from New York, a filmmaker and playwright from New York, whose debut feature, A Picture of You, follows a pair of siblings who travel to their childhood home in Pennsylvania following the death of their mother. And while going through her things, they find a picture that fucks their world up, basically. The film stars Andrew Pang, Joe May, Jody Long, Teyona Paris, and Lucas Dixon. And it's a great film. You can find my review on the site, on way2indie.com. We also have another interview with J.P. Chan on there, two of them, actually. The film opens in a couple weekends in New York City at Lowe's Theater. Is that correct, JP?
Yeah, it's the AMC Village 7 on June 20th, and we're there for a week.
Fantastic, and thank you for joining me, JP. How are you?
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I'm over here in California. You're over in New York, of course. How are things going over there 3 hours ahead?
Good. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and like most indie filmmakers, I'm indoors working on the movie, so I can't enjoy any of the weather, and I'm all pale and depressed.
Well, it's all going to be worth it in a couple weekends, of course. So tell me a little bit about the film. I know a lot about the film, but tell our readers about the film and what they can expect going into the theater.
Sure. A Picture of You is my first feature film. I've done a bunch of shorts, but this is my first feature. And we've done a bunch of film festivals, and now we're opening theatrically in New York for a week on June 20th. A Picture of You is the story of two estranged siblings who travel from New York City to rural Pennsylvania to pack up the home of their recently deceased mother. And while they're there, they make a shocking discovery that turns the world upside down. And the film kind of shifts from one genre to another and maybe back and forth a bit until its shocking conclusion.
And do you like films like that? And I agree, your film is kind of genreless and kind of switches things up, especially when they make that shocking discovery. Do you enjoy when films do that? Kind of films that you can't really fit into any one genre?
I do. I mean, I like both. I like stuff that, is very much, by the numbers, straightforward. And I like stuff that, kind of is more playful and kind of pushes the boundaries also. So I think, I'm an omnivore when it comes to films, and I like, all different approaches to it. For myself, for my first feature, I kind of wanted to bend genres, kind of wanted to genre skip because I felt pressure as a first-time filmmaker, making a micro-budget film, that it could very predictably go a particular way, especially given the kind of story I was writing. And so deliberately not sticking to one genre was my way of sort of thumbing my nose at what I thought the expectation would be for a first-time filmmaker, and also to push myself because I knew actually it would be harder to accomplish, to pull off. That's what I thought anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And the film, what I really like about the film is that, you do. I did go in expecting a certain type of indie movie, kind of nostalgia movie, and what's great is that it switches things up. There's a lot. The film has a lot of attitude, which I think is perfectly conveyed in the trailer that you guys put together. Love that
Oh,
trailer.
thanks.
You can find that on the site in our review, and also I'll put a link to it here in the description of the video. Talk about putting together that trailer. I love it.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, that was like super difficult. First of all, I had to cut the trailer because on a tiny budget movie like this, we can't afford to hire a trailer cutter. So I cut it myself. And truth be told, I was sweating about the trailer months before we even shot the movie because I was like, wow. I know what I'm trying to accomplish in this film, and I know people who sit for the film will get it if I do my job right. But how am I going to entice people to go see it? Like, what element would I stress in the movie, in the trailer, which, is an ad for the movie? Would it be the drama side or would it be the comedy side? And how do you do this without revealing some of the essential plot turns of the film? So I was really sweating it, but I'm glad it came out, decently, and people seem to like it, and hopefully it entices people to come and check it out.
Yeah, it's great. I love it, and everybody check out that trailer and check out the film in New York in a couple of weeks. But now let's move into your picks for these obscure, hard to find, in one case, impossible to find, right? Films. We've got three picks from you today. Um, let's start with let's start with the first one. Let's get going. JP,
Okay.
what's your first pick?
My first pick is Eve and the Fire Horse, which is a 2005 Canadian film directed by Julia Kwan. And this film premiered, I believe, at the 2005 Sundance. It won Grand Jury for World Cinema and did a bunch of film festivals. And that's where I found it. I think I may have actually found it in San Francisco at at what was the San Francisco International Asian Film Festival back then. I think that's where I saw it. But then I'm also friends with Julia Kwan, who's the amazing director, and she also has a new film out, which is a documentary called Everything Will Be, and I think it's about Chinatowns in Vancouver, and I'm excited to see that when it actually sort of hits the world. But this film, it's one of the earliest Asian. They're very specific. Canadians don't like you to say Asian American. They want you to say Asian North American or Asian Canadian. So sorry, my Canadian friends. So it was one of the first of that sort of canon that I'd seen, and it was wonderful. It's a touching story about these two Chinese Canadian sisters growing up in Vancouver in the 70s, and sort of their sort of coming of age as they kind of navigate sort of growing up from girlhood to adulthood, dealing with sort of death in the family, and sort of also dealing with the East and West sort of culture clashes and or religion also. And I'm not doing it justice by my rambling synopsis, but it's a wonderful film. It really goes to the heart, and it's beautifully made too.
Fantastic. And okay, so this one's hard to find.
This
I'd
one,
like to believe.
This one, unfortunately, is very hard to find. Despite winning, the prize at Sundance and having a very strong festival run in the United States, I don't think they ever got U.S. distribution. And to this day, you still can't find it anywhere. I don't think they ever did a DVD release here. It's not online anywhere. So it's been a couple of years since I've seen this film because you can't even torrent it, actually. Not that I would ever do that, but you can't actually do that.
Never.
That's right. That's how obscure the film is. It's not being sold on the subway, by a Chinese woman with a bootleg. You just can't get it. So that's pretty obscure.
So what we have to do now is tell people to yell and scream about wanting to see this film, right?
Yes, absolutely. If once I get done with my film, maybe I can be a part-time advocate and marketeer for Julia's film, assuming it's a releasable. And yeah, I would love to. I would love to see it get a nice, at least digital release in the United States, because I think a lot of people should see it. It's a wonderful film.
Fantastic. And the name of that one again?
Is Eve and the Fire Horse.
Eve and the Fire Horse.
Yes.
Let's
If you
get
Google
that out
it,
there.
yeah, if you Google it, you'll be able to find all sorts of references to it. You just can't see the movie itself.
Such a shame. But that's,
Yes.
kind of why we're doing this show, right? To get
Yes.
the word out there about these films that deserve more love. Sounds like this one deserves a lot. Let's move on to your next pick. What do you got in store for us next?
My next pick is a film called Cold Weather, and this one is much easier to find. This debuted in 2010 at the South by Southwest Film Festival, and I had a strong festival run, and I think it was picked up by IFC, and I had seen it at the IFC Center in New York City, I think in 2011. That film is the third feature film by a writer-director named Aaron Katz, and he now has a new film out called Cold Weather. I'm sorry, Cold Weather was that film. His new film is called Land Ho, and that's being released by Sony Pictures Classics next month, and that was at Sundance also this year. This film is I hate to say I don't mean it to be in a pejorative way, but it's like a mumblecore detective story, and it uses a lot of it's sort of it's a story about two siblings who haven't seen each other in a while. They kind of get together back in Portland, and then a mystery kind of comes upon them, and then they set about to sort of solve it. And it's just a wonderful film because I thought it just sort of like perfectly blended sort of the elements that you'd see in kind of like the mumblecore movement, more kind of slackly paced narratives, 20, 30 something white middle class ennui,
Right,
but
right.
but it kind of melds that to a very cool kind of narrative thrust kind of detective story without compromising either. It's kind of like its own thing. It's beautifully shot. I love the sort of the brother sister dynamic in it, and it was actually pretty influential in actually my own film, A Picture of You.
Oh,
So
great.
much, yeah, so much so that I had kind of forgotten this until I rewatched it in anticipation of this interview. Was that I actually named one of my characters for the lead character in this film, Doug. So the guy who plays the boyfriend in my film actually is actually named for this guy, which I had forgotten about. But more of the connection was that to that film was that I loved it's so beautifully shot by Andrew Reed, their cinematographer, that I was able to get Andrew to shoot my movie also. So he's actually the cinematographer for A Picture of You.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. So,
So
small world.
yeah, yeah. So there's lots of connections to it. So it's a film that's near and dear to my heart. And yeah, it makes Portland look beautiful too.
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. Um, I'm sensing a theme here, JP. Couple
Yes.
movies about siblings.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until I kind of put these films together for today. Well, and the next one is even more, even more down that vein. So, yeah, I'm basically not all that original. You kind of steal from the best. So, right?
No, no. You can't steal a sibling story. Come on,
Oh, oh, that's true.
come on.
That's true.
You got it. You got it.
Okay.
But where can people find this one? This one's more readily available, I understand.
Yeah, Cold Weather's easier to find. Like I literally just bought it last night on iTunes. So if you're into the streaming thing, you can buy it on iTunes. It's not on Netflix streaming, but you can definitely get it on Netflix DVD, I think, and then you can just buy the DVD. I don't know if they ever did a Blu-ray edition. I don't think they did. But I think they showed on the Sundance Channel also because I think Sundance Selects picked it up as well.
Okay, so
So yeah, wonderful. Please check it out.
yeah, sounds fantastic. I'm looking forward very much to Land Ho as well. That is Cold Weather by Aaron Katz, another pick that I look forward to checking out. Haven't seen either of these films, so very excited about that. And now on to your final pick, the third pick,
Okay.
which is going to be, I presume, another sibling story because they're
It
great.
is, yes. The third pick is a movie called Septien from 2011. And that is a film written and directed by Michael Tully, who has a new movie out called Ping Pong Summer. It just came out this weekend, actually, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And this is a film about three brothers, and then they kind of live together on a farm in an unnamed southern locale. And they are all wrestling with some pretty dark demons and repressed kind of memories and urges. And that film, I saw it actually the same year as Cold Weather, and that really stuck with me and was influential towards the making of my film. Because Septien like never goes where you think it will go. Like it from moment to moment, I feel like the genre changes. There's a sense of dread throughout, but it veers from sort of like comedy to very heavy family drama to like surreal suspense kind of thriller at points, and you kind of just don't know where it's going to go, and so you're kind of like kept on edge the whole time. But it's also a really deeply felt family story and about sort of reconciliation and about sort of coming to terms with these things that scare you. So it, it it holds together for me through all these different shifts, all these different tonal shifts, because I think the emotional through line is so strong. Like I'm really, involved in what the characters are up to. So that was an inspiration for my film, just because to see someone kind of pull it off and go, wow, okay, I could do a movie. Maybe my movie could go from from drama to comedy, and maybe even to like an adventure or something, and then come back, and people still hang with it as long as they feel that the characters are being true at all times, and that you're being honest about where they're going. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
talented filmmaker and very cool guy as well. We have an interview up with Mr. Tully up on our YouTube channel and also on the site. You should check that out. Ping Pong Summer's great. I can't wait for you to see it.
I'm excited. Yeah, that's my reward for today. If I'm productive today with my other filmmaking stuff, I'm gonna go reward myself by singing Ping Pong Summer.
That's great. And where can people find Septic?
Septian is on Netflix streaming, so if you're a Netflix subscriber, that's the easiest way. You're only 2 clicks away from it. I believe they were picked up. They were picked up by IFC and so you could be able to buy the DVD or rent it somewhere too. Should be easier to find, but it's definitely kind of an obscure kind of film, and it's definitely uh, worth seeking out.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that one as well. Love Ping Pong Summer. Haven't seen Septian yet, so I appreciate you sharing your random jewels, hidden gems with me,
Oh, thanks.
and the rest of the audience. Let's go through the three picks again really quick.
Three picks again are Even the Fire Horse, directed by Julia Kwan from 2005, Cold Weather, directed by Aaron Katz from 2010, and Septian, directed by Michael Tully from 2011.
Perfect. And you can find, again, the Ping Pong Summer stuff on the website, the Michael Tully interview. You can find a bunch of interviews and a review for JP Chan's film, a picture review coming out in a couple weekends in New York City. And yeah, anything else you'd like to add about the film, JP, that you'd like to say to people who live in New York?
All just to say that please come out if you're watching this and you're in New York City or you have friends in New York City. Please come and join us for a week worth of my movie. We'll be at the AMC Village 7. That's the one that's on 3rd Avenue and 11th Street. We open on Friday, June 20th, and we play until Thursday, June 26th. And on the opening weekend, which is the Friday the 20th through Sunday the 21st, I'll be there with cast and crew, and we'll be doing Q&As at 6 of the screenings. So we'll have two each day of that opening weekend. So come hang out with us, watch the movie, and we're gonna party like crazy afterwards.
That sounds like so much fun. I wish I was over there, 3,000 miles away. Yeah, everybody head out to see the film. I recommend it highly. They're fun people to hang out with as well, so go party with them afterwards.
Yes.
You guys definitely are. Where can we find you on Twitter, JP?
I'm at JP Chan. The film is at APOY Film. Our film website is apoyfilm.com, and we have a very active Facebook site also, which you can check out, facebook.com/APOY Film.
Great, and I'm at BJ Boo on Twitter. You can find my work on the website, of course. Check out way2indie.com. Check us out on Twitter, on Facebook. Give us a like. Give this video a like if you enjoyed this new installment of Secret Stash. Hopefully we'll talk to you again, JP, on one of these. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'd be happy to come back anytime you want me.
Yeah. Great picks here. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Bernard Boo, way2indie.com, a picture review film, apoyfilm.com. Check us out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And the film kind of shifts from one genre to another and maybe back and forth a bit until its shocking conclusion.
And do you like films like that? And I agree, your film is kind of genreless and it kind of switches things up, especially when they make that shocking discovery. Do you enjoy when films do that? Kind of films that you can't really fit into any one genre?
I do. I mean, I like both. I like stuff that, is very much, by the numbers, straightforward. And I like stuff that, kind of is more playful and kind of pushes the boundaries also. So I think, I'm a...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second installment of Way2Indie's Secret Stash, a series in which we talk to filmmakers, actors, and movie critics, and other folks in the industry about films they love and consider essential cinema, but haven't gotten the recognition or exposure they deserve because they're too obscure, too weird, or too indie, of course. Joining me today, our guest is JP Chan, a filmmaker from New York, a filmmaker and playwright from New York, whose debut feature, A Picture of You, follows a pair of siblings who travel to their childhood home in Pennsylvania following the death of their mother. And while going through her things, they find a picture that fucks their world up, basically. The film stars Andrew Pang, Joe May, Jody Long, Teyona Paris, and Lucas Dixon. And it's a great film. You can find my review on the site, on way2indie.com. We also have another interview with JP Chan on there, 2 of them, actually. The film opens in a couple weekends in New York. Tell me a little bit about the film. I know a lot about the film, but tell our readers about the film and what they can expect going into the theater.
Sure. A Picture of You is my first feature film. I've done a bunch of shorts, but this is my first feature. And we've done a bunch of film festivals, and now we're opening theatrically in New York for a week on June 20th. A Picture of You is the story of two estranged siblings who travel from New York City to rural Pennsylvania to pack up the home of their recently deceased mother. And while they're there, they make a shocking discovery that turns the world upside down.
City at Lowe's Theater, is that correct, JP?
Yeah, it's the AMC Village 7 on June 20th, and we're there for a week.
Fantastic, and thank you for joining me, JP. How are you?
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I'm over here in California. You're over in New York, of course. How are things going over there 3 hours ahead?
Good. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and like most indie filmmakers, I'm indoors working on the movie, so I can't enjoy any of the weather, and I'm all pale and depressed.
Well, it's all going to be worth it in a couple weekends, of course. So